Ruth McCracken and Trisetta Washington, two top-notch career and business strategists, are here to help you defy standards and break boundaries. Join them as they share powerful insights that have already impacted thousands of people and will have a major impact on your career, life balance, and business. Ruth.
Hey, it's always a pleasure. How you doing, Trisetta?
I'm doing fantastic, Ruth. It is good to see you as always.
Yes, thank you, my friends. Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Let us know that you are here and you're live and well. Thank you for coming here in our community as we're recording here. We want to be able to inject into these digital space that, hey, listen, we want to disrupt the algorithm. And can you help us disrupt it as well by sharing and liking? Because our goal is to impact thousands of lives, if not more. And if you're coming in and you're tuning in for the first time, let me know who you let us let you know who you're now having in part of your day, and who are these light beams that are coming across your news feed or your platform if you're maybe perhaps on a different community. But at any event, I am Ruth, and let me tell you, HR career professionals, they come to us, yes, because they're now wanting to be more recognized to superstars, and most importantly, be able to attract the lives that they deserve by partnering with us here at RAM International & Co., which we like to call RAM Promote Yourself. And if that is you, go ahead and hit me up in the DMs, and I'll be more than happy to share with you, or go ahead and email us, and I'll be more than happy, or someone on our team will help guide you.
And for those of you who don't know me, I am Trisetta Washington, CEO and founder of Profitable Productivity. And what I do is I partner with coaches, consultants, and thought leaders to help them have it all without sacrificing the things that matter most to them. It's what I like to call balanced ambition. And I'm super excited to continue the series that we're on. And but before we get in, Ruth, you got this song stirring up in me. You kept saying, like, come on in. You remember that? You remember that also, come on in the room.
Oh my goodness, yes. I love it. For those who maybe just know, hey, listen, we are faith believers, and if you are too, we are not in no discrimination. You may be very well worship maybe Buddha, Muslim, whatever the case may be. I preferably have no denomination, but for those who maybe recall those old hymns that somehow popped in my dear friend Trisetta's head, it's just a joy to go back. It just gives me the truth bumps to know that, wow, those hymns have some powerful words. But we are now still, breaking boundaries. We're continuing on the path of wanting to identify some of the Black history leaders, not even history. We already talked about it in our last episode. If you missed it, if you didn't get a chance to go, you need to go back.
Oh, it was powerful. It was really powerful.
Amazing. Absolutely. And today we got something that we're definitely going to give you an eye opener, especially if you're the type of person that follow politics, right? And we're not, for disclaimer, this is more so, again, lining out with who is one of our bad leaders, AKA, which is still a phenomenal way of describing someone who's definitely breaking these boundaries, or boundary breakers, if you will. Maxine Waters. And to give you a little bit of background on her, just so you can know what is it that she do in the politic area. We'll talk about that later on. But for now, let's give you some background as to who she is, Maxine Waters. Originally, she's from St. Louis. Where is my St. Louis, Missouri folks at? If that's somewhere that you can call home, and go ahead and let us know.
Drop a fire emoji in the chat if you're from St. Louis.
Yes, let us know you're representing as well. Well, especially for her, she went from being in Missouri, and watch this, she then became the U.S. representative for California's 43rd congressional district since 1991. Now she's been elected, by the way, to her 16th term in November of 2020, right in the heart of COVID, right? And her reputation as a fearless and outspoken advocate, not just for women, but for children, people of color, and the poor. And if you all are familiar with her, let me know in the comments, or just go ahead and share with us. Let us know, oh, we definitely remember her, or this is an aha moment for you, and if this is super useful, definitely want to let us know as well by hitting those thumbs up and liking and sharing. But for now, I also want to drop with you also, finally, she is also, wait for it, co-founder of Black Women's Forum, a non-profit organization of over 1,200 African-American women in the LA area. So if you're from LA, or you in the LA zip codes, go ahead and let us know by hitting some fires, by going ahead and commenting below, and let us know that what other maybe remarks that we may have missed and you may know about Miss Maxine Waters that you would love for the community to know. Go ahead and hit it in the comments as well. But for now, we're going to go ahead and segue, and Tricetta's going to walk us through on what exactly is Maxine Waters doing presently, and what have she's done up until this point within her career that many of you all may be hearing for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things, Maxine Waters is not new to this, right? So you just heard she's been elected to her 16th term. So she's been in politics for a long time. And she started humble beginnings. Her family, she was one of 13 kids, I believe, and her family moved from St. Louis, Missouri to LA, and that's where she worked in factories. She sewed until she finally kind of caught a break and moved into the politics arena by being an assistant to someone. I can't remember the gentleman's name. But so she's had a very long career in politics, and has actually kind of she's been known for multiple things over the course of the years. But most recently, the reason why we wanted to talk about Miss Maxine Waters is because in 2017, July 27th to be exact, when Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin, I always pronounce his name wrong, so forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it because it's spelled weird. Anyway, he was testifying before the committee about the state of the international finances, or excuse me, international finance system, when Waters, who was the committee ranking Democrat at that time, asked why his office had not yet responded to a letter from her regarding then President Trump's financial ties to Russia. Okay. Now, the Mr. tried to sidestep the question, and he was trying to, give her all these platitudes and all these compliments and all these things, trying to run out the clock on her question, because the way things were set up, they had a specific amount of time to answer questions. And once the time was up, then they had to move on to the next thing. Well, Maxine Waters wasn't having it. She wasn't having of it. And I'm sure everybody really relates. You gonna answer me today, sir? So she pulled in one of their parliamentary procedures to redirect him by saying, reclaiming my time. So many of you, if you're on social media, you probably have seen one of her memes saying reclaiming my time, because she kept interrupting and saying reclaiming my time, because she was not going to allow the time to run down while he tried to placate her with all of these niceties. She was like, no, you're going to answer my question today. So so I think that's really, that in and of itself was just amazing, because she was holding his feet to the fire. But what really got me is that it moved beyond the obvious political implications of that particular moment or that particular situation into just mainstream America as almost this movement that spoke to all of us brown people who have been talked over, who have been ignored, or who have had our time wasted time after time after time. And it was almost as if what she did transcended the current time in kind of insinuating of times past, like enough was enough, right? She was putting her foot down and it was like, enough is enough. We're tired of now, disclaimer here. Our podcast is not a political platform. So we're not, this is not a political
Not
platform.
far, not even close.
Right. At the same time, both of us are Black women, right? And so that is the lens through which we are kind of sharing this information. And so it was almost as if in that moment it transcended time into like, yeah, enough is enough where of white men overlooking us and silencing our voices and ignoring the things that matter to us. And so it almost kind of ushered in this movement of like, no, time is out for that.
I like how you call that. I like how it's being called ushered in, because that's exactly what it was. It was an ushering in of shifting and bringing in a new way of, again, leveraging your voice.
Yes, absolutely. And, let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comments if you have ever been in a space, whether it's in the workplace or whether it's in, just kind of in your everyday life where you're, out shopping, or if you've been in any type of association or any type of environment where as a Black or brown person, you were trying to express yourself and were completely, where you got cut off from speaking, or just your opinion was not valued and it's just kind of ignored and brushed under the rug, or you were completely silenced. Let us know in the comments if you've ever experienced that. I know I can think of multiple occasions where that has happened to me. And eventually you get to a place where you're like, no, you are going to listen to me. You are going to hear what I have to say. And I think that in that moment, Maxine Waters took back our collective power.
I love that, because, and then we'll talk about later on as to what type of traits allowed her to position herself in such a stellar way to where it then created this reaction in a more so way. And I don't even know if she even knew what was happening. She was again being ushered in. And again, why am I continue redirecting in that word? Because we are here, I believe, and I want to take this time to disclose here that I do believe that the people that come to you and how and what what type of shape or form, they're just here as a humanly or being vessel to allow certain information to flow. Now, some of them have been graced enough to go through their DNA and it becomes genetically formed in them. Whereas many of us, if you can say that it's something that you have to instill. It's a practice. It's a day-to-day muscle in terms of really having that voice to stand in the gap or building that bridge to say, hey, wait a minute, let's come on. I may not look like you, but if we cut each other at the same token, we're going to bleed more than likely the same way. So my point is, where do we draw the line, right? Where do you believe we draw the line so that way it still gives us the opportunity to step into our boundaries, say, by leveraging our voice?
Absolutely. And, I think it's important for us to recognize that when you have any type of influence, that you have a responsibility to either pave the way for others to use their voice or to be a voice for the people who are unheard. And that's one of the things that I really admire about Miss Waters, or Representative Waters. Not only, this was a small, if you will, this is only one of multiple incidents where where she's spoken up for people who didn't have a voice of their own. And even beyond that, most recently, she partnered with Senator Elizabeth Warren and Senator Kirsten Gillibrand to put forth a bill called the Federal Reserve Racial and Economic Equity Act, which passed just this past June 15th of 2022. And the bill makes reducing racial economic, let me say this right, reducing racial economic inequality a core part of the Federal Reserve's broader mission.
I love it. Let's break it down in layman terms for those who may not be as politically. Let's go ahead and translate it in a way where we want to make sure that you all are taking this in like, wow, this representative really went to bat for you, of women of color, men of color, children of color. The point is, we want you to pause for the cause and really sink in and let your ears gravitate as to what exactly this bill was. And we're not here to share with you all, as far as whether it was right, wrong, if that's something you're agreeing. This is something that we saw within our culture, in our Afro-American culture, is that this Black woman took it upon herself to really orchestrate with a crew of other women. They're not a woman of color, but there were other women who saw her vision, they all came together and became a unit, right? A unit to be able to, again, reduce racial economic. Go ahead, Trissa. Like, what does that mean in layman's terms? Can you tell the people what ways can they really say, oh, okay. And I'm not saying that you all may not know, but listen.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, for many generations, it's no secret that there is a disparity between wealth in the white community and wealth in the Black community. And I don't have the statistics right in front of me right now. I should put them in our show notes, but there's a huge gap. And the point of this bill is to, right, because the Federal Reserve is the central bank for the United States, right? And it governs all banks. And one of the areas where there is a huge disparity is in lending, right? It's in lending. And so what better place to begin with trying to bridge the lending gap than with the Bank of the Nation, right? So there's some flaws. I will say this, there are definitely some flaws in the bill. It doesn't really outline how this should happen. And it's more, but it's a step in the right direction. Like everything, right? Everything begins with the journey of a million miles begins with a single step, right? So it's a step in the right direction. I will say this, that what the Reserve was saying is that, the best way to do this is to reduce the joblessness rate, right? To reduce the unemployment rate. And we'll dive into this next. We'll talk a little bit more about this next month when we get into kind of Women's History Month. But I disagree. I disagree that the issue isn't joblessness. Yes, that's important. That's an important component. But the real issue is the wage disparity.
Come through. I was waiting for you to hit that punchline. I'm like, yes.
It's the wage disparity, because so many, men, not just women of color, but all women make less to the dollar than their white male counterparts.
100%.
Right? And World Wage Day is coming up next month in March, and we're going to do some content around that. So I won't go too deep into it, but essentially, I believe it's March 15th, and that's the day. That's how far into the new year women have to work in order to make the same amount of money that their white male counterparts made in the calendar year. And then for Black women, it extends all the way into August.
Listen to this. And if you're the type of person who's saying, wow, you are speaking some truth here, you are just an inch away and saying, well, how do I even allow myself to break that part? That's a whole different episode, but you can definitely share that in the comments. Let us know that this is an area that you maybe in your career, in your business, you want to go ahead and disrupt, what this equity limitation, this revenue, or any kind of cash flow that may be hindering what you may call your circle, and you want to, dive in, let us know in the comments that this is an area that you would love to hear more about. Although we will, like Trisetta just shared, and if you're not following us, why not? Go ahead and follow us so you can get reminded. Yes, subscribe and share with 2 or 3 of your peers or friends, because this is an area that we want you all to know that breaking boundaries is here for a reason. We're here to disrupt your way of thinking, your way of being, and start creating a voice. Back to what we're talking about, right? Start creating a voice that is necessary. And if it takes maybe some practice, we'll walk you through that. We'll share that with you as well. But to your point, thanks so much for sharing that, Trisetta, as far as where exactly is this tribe? And then, yes, it may be something that just took a ice, or just took a peek of the icebreaker. However, the fact that it started, let's go ahead and continue, for those who may find it to be so necessary to continue holding that baton, right?
Yeah. So we'll do a deep dive into that subject matter next month when we get into that topic. But it was important to kind of highlight that, because like I said, this bill is a step in the right direction, but fairness in lending is just one aspect of that, and making sure that people have jobs is another aspect of that. But you have to move beyond that into making sure that there's actually wage equity. And
100%. That's facts. Yeah.
Right. And so I think we collectively need to pick up that baton that Maxine Waters has kind of started the champion, and others, there's definitely others. She's not the only one, but as we shift into this new generation, who's going to pick up the baton, and what is the baton that we need to actually pick up? So we'll dive into that a little deeper next month. But I want to kind of segue back into talking about Representative Waters. And last week we shared 2 character traits of our boundary breaker, and I want to do the same thing this week to highlight, because the whole point in us having this conversation is so that not just to talk about the history or the present day history that's being made, but to position us to be boundary breakers ourselves in our everyday, in our sphere of influence.
Yes, tell us. Let us know what ways can we allow, because you all may already have this, but maybe there's others who are saying, well, no, I don't know if I have this voice, like how you all are describing some of these women that came ahead or pressed the way forward, or paved the way forward, if you will. So yes, go ahead and let us know what would be one of the actual traits that we can, perhaps take as a golden nugget.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is resolve, right? And resolve is simply a firm determination to do something, right? So Representative Waters was determined to get an answer to her question. Yeah. And she repeatedly stood her ground, not allowing Munchkin to sidestep her question. She's like, no, sir, you're not going to run the time down. I'm going to continue. I'm going to stand my ground and continue to reclaim my time until I get an answer for the question that I asked you.
Persistent.
And there's so many times, there's so many different opportunities or time periods where we can end up in a place of backing down simply because it doesn't happen the first time. Right? Sometimes it's going to take, some things is going to take more than one call out to make a difference. Because if that were not true, so many issues that we have in our society wouldn't be issues.
That's true, until it became a center of attention.
Right?
And then now it's
continually have conversation. Like, why are we still talking about racism half a century more, or half a century beyond, and some beyond the civil rights movement? Right?
Girl, I'm gonna let you drop the mic on that.
It's because once isn't enough. You have to have the resolve,
That's
the
right.
determination to make a difference, to change something, because it's not going to happen the first time.
And some of you all, that's a great way to allow us, and let us know in the comments. Let us know your minds, your thoughts, what words or what emotions that may have shifted you to see it in a greater light, to see it as true, and to see it as, okay, what can I do? Because this matters to me, on how you may be able to say, you know what, I have certain things that I know I'm really great at, and let me go ahead and practice on how to exercise my voice. You may be the type of person that be really great at building relationships, networking, connecting, but there's others that you may know that have the potentials, but they just don't have the voice to advocate for themselves. If there's an opportunity within an organization, they may need that nudge, like someone like yourself, who has the ability to go ahead and be a person of resolution, who has a mindset of a trait, character of, let's go ahead and create some kind of ripple effect.
Yeah.
And being, the principle of what? Repetition, the law of repetition, and having that trait, and also practicing it.
Mm-hmm.
And then for those who may want more practice, or may want to see this as a great added skill set, then those are areas that I would definitely help. Let us know in the comments, though, and those are areas that we can definitely help in collaboration with you on how to expound on that. I think it's very relevant, especially now.
Absolutely. And, and of course, it's not easy to be resolute. It's not easy, which leads into our second trait that we want to highlight of Representative Waters, and that's courage.
Yes.
It takes courage to be resolute. It takes courage to stand in a place of determination. And essentially, courage is really the ability to do something that frightens you.
Yeah.
Or it could be mental or moral strength to persevere, to withstand danger, fear, or difficulty, right? Courage isn't always loud and boisterous, which I think we have a tendency to think like that's this big thing. No, courage is simply being able to persevere in the face of difficulty, in the face of fear, in the face of danger. And
that part,
if you can, it does, let me say it this way. It doesn't mean that the fear won't come. It doesn't mean that the fear will disappear.
Well, no. Right. The moment the courage is,
do it anyway.
Do it anyhow. Just do it no matter what. And we're not saying to do it. Obviously, we're all adults here. And I'm thinking that we may be in the right frame of thought and thinking, okay, if I know this is an area of opportunity that I may be kind of weak in, and then identifying it, that's the number one deal breaker, right? That's the number one, breaker for you, because now you're saying, yes, this is an area that I would love to get stronger in, right? On how to be able to have that courage. Maybe growing up, you didn't have someone as a role model or a role figure, male figure, female figure, what have you, to speak in a way where it allow you to get that confidence and that zeal to push yourself towards it as well. So that's where you want to ask yourself, who can I connect with? Who can I network with? Who maybe is 10 steps ahead of me in the area of courage, that's maybe in your community, that may be in your workplace, that maybe perhaps someone in your family that you could think of right away. Maybe it's that uncle that everybody knew, but when it comes to in the family reunions or what have you, he knew how to get everybody's attention. He knew how to get, or he or she knew how to make sure that everybody would stop what they're doing, because they knew the moment they heard his voice ushering in the pastures or the green pasture, if you're in a park somewhere, he was going to make a point and everyone was going to value that. Wouldn't that be worth it if that was you? If you're in an area of your life and time where you're knowing that if you don't say something, are you going to be able to sleep well at night because you wish a coulda, woulda? Then you want to come out of yourself and give yourself that grace to practice, study to show thyself approved, not unto man, but unto yourself and to God. Yes.
Absolutely. And if you don't have if you don't feel like you have the courage, borrow it from someone else.
I like that.
Borrow the courage from someone else and think about like what would someone that you think is very courageous or very brave, what would they do in this situation, and then do that. Right?
I love it. I love it. Let us know in the comments. Has this been an eye opener for you? Go ahead and let us know. I will personally, myself and Tressetta will definitely go out there and comment and have a comment party with you. And let's just go ahead and share and just break the algorithm of every platform out there. Just let us know that you found us to be super useful, and share and like and subscribe.
Yes.
Because that is our duty. We want to be able to elevate. We want to be able to allow you to see your life differently in different lenses, your business, even your career. And with that being said, if you all want to go ahead and continue on with our episodes, don't forget to subscribe here. And again, let us know how this was. And if you have any other topics, what you think, Tressetta? Let's go ahead and have them send us a comment.
Sure. We would love to get some suggestions on topics, because I mean that's why we're here. Like it's not just about us. It's about adding value to you all. So definitely, if you have ideas of topics that you would like us to cover as it relates to breaking boundaries in the workplace and in life, definitely let us know.
I love it. I love it. Well, as much as we would love to sit here and just enjoy our time with one another, we would love to go ahead and let you all know it's been a pleasure hanging out with you all. Let's go ahead and join us again. See you all next time. Until then, be the best that you can be in all that you do. Bye, my friends.
Bye for now.